Turn on this other one too. Okay, praise the Most High. All right, we have been studying Romans, and today we're going to be continuing in chapter 3 of the Epistle of Romans. And before we do, I'd like to just do something we normally do, a little backdrop into what we're going to be looking at today and what we're going to be talking about in Romans. And I'd like to start with a few places in Isaiah and some other witnesses. Brothers and sisters, again, I'd like to bring up the idea, the fact that many of us are coming out of one of the main religions, some form of Christianity, or maybe even some form of Islam. And in both of those religions, we are coming out of an idea that there is all the people of the earth serve the same God, which thing the Bible rejects. The Muslims believe that all people serve the same God. In fact, the Muslims believe that all people are really Muslim and don't know it. And the Christians believe that all the different variations of Christianity serve the same God, and other people serve the same God. They just call him different names and worship him different ways. The Bible does not support this, for the simple fact that as we look at the covenant, let's take a look at the covenant itself. One of the places the covenant is found in Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. Exodus 20. And we're going to begin in Exodus chapter 20. We're going to start at verse 1 from Exodus 20 and going down to verse 5. Actually, from verse 1 to verse 6. Exodus chapter 20 from verse 1 to 6. Thank you, Isha. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, Yahweh, Ahia Yahweh, thy Most High, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh thy Most High, am a jealous Most High, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So you can see here, the very first commandment given is an admonition, a command, a commission, not to serve any other gods but Yahweh, the Most High, Ahia Yahweh, not to serve any other gods but Ahia Yahweh, the Most High. Now, that is an implication. There's an implication in that command. What do I mean by that? By him saying, don't serve any other gods, don't bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, what he is implying is that there are other gods that people worship, that there are other things that people worship aside from him. And he's admonishing his people to only worship him. Therefore, not everybody serves the same God. Because if everybody served the same God, he wouldn't have to say that. Does that make sense? Testing 1, 2, 3. But because of the fact that he admonishes his people, he says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. He's saying, you might, if you go worship other gods, I'm not going to be happy, which means that it is possible for you to go worship other gods. Not only that, the Bible does show us, of course, Satan is seeking worship. Let's take a look at that. Isaiah chapter 14, very well-known scripture. Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. We're going to read a very, very familiar passage of scripture, Isaiah 14 from verse 12, from verse 12 to 14. Isaiah 14, 12 to 14. As another witness, the scripture says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So here, Asatan is seeking worship. And of course, we know, we talked about this last week, how the Bible shows us he deceives the whole world. He deceives the whole world. So therefore, all of us are coming out of some form of deception, which Asatan has brought upon us. And that being the case, we have not always worshiped the true God, because Asatan is seeking worship. Therefore, not everybody serves the same God. Let's look at another one, another passage of scripture. Psalms 96. Psalms 96. Psalms 96. Psalm 96. Go from verse 1 down to verse 5. Psalm 96, 1 through 5. Sing, oh, sing unto Yahweh a new song. Sing unto Yahweh all the earth. Sing unto Yahweh, bless his name. Show forth his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all people. For Yahweh is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. There you go again. So again, it shows us not everybody serves the same God. And this is where it's important that we understand his name. Whether you call him Yahuwah or Yahweh, whether you call him Yah, you understand that he has a name. For them in the King James, they just put the word Lord in big letters, right? That could be anything. Adani, a master, can be anything. Matter of fact, we know that the word Lord translated Bali or Balaam, which is a false god. So not everybody serves the same God. Even people that look at this same King James doesn't necessarily mean that they're serving the same God. And it tells us all the gods of the nations, that is all the heathen, that is somebody that's not an Israelite, is serving the wrong God, is serving a different God. And as a matter of fact, we know from what we just read, he spoke the words of the covenant to the king, to the children of Israel. He said, I am Yahweh thy most high, or Ahaya Yahweh thy most high, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. That's not everybody. Out of the house of bondage. That's not everybody. He did not bring everybody out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. He only brought one group of people. Okay. And so he's telling this one group of people, he's the true God. He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why does he have to designate it this way? Because all the other nations are serving a different God. Okay. All the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. I mean, we just read this. We got 3 witnesses. So we know that Asatan deceiveth the whole world. And because of that, we understand we don't all serve the same God. But in Christianity and in Judaism and in Islam, they all believe that they're serving the same God. Well, maybe they are, but they don't serve the same God as the Israelite nation. They do not. And as I just showed that from the Bible. So if somebody says to you, you think you're trying to be separatist or you're trying to be elitist, we're not trying to be elitist. The Bible is telling us there's a distinction. It's very plain in the scriptures. Okay, it's very plain. We just saw 3 witnesses that showed us that. He did not give the 10 commandments to everybody. He gave it to his chosen people. Satan deceiveth the whole world and wants worship. Therefore, he's got the world worshiping him. And then here in the Psalms, the psalmist says that his people are to declare his glory among the heathen, and that all the gods of the heathen are idols. Says it. Let's continue for a second in Psalm 96. Okay, let's look at Psalm 96. Let's start from that verse 5. Let's start again from verse 5. And I'm going to read down to verse 13. Let's read the whole Psalm from verse 5 to verse 13. Notice what it says. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary. Give unto Yahweh, O ye kindreds of the people. Give unto Yahweh glory and strength. Give unto Yahweh the glory due unto his name. Bring an offering, come into his courts. O worship Yahweh in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth. Say among the heathen that Yahweh reigneth. The world also shall be established. It shall not be moved. He shall judge the people righteously. Let the heavens rejoice. Let the earth be glad. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof. Let the field be joyful and all that is therein. Then shall all the trees of the wood rejoice before Yahweh, for he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness and the people with his truth. There you go. So he's here. The psalmist, as I want to make sure we understand. Um, we know that the Old Testament is the scriptures according to, this is definitely the scriptures, right? I mean, New Testament is scriptures too, but the original scriptures are the Old Testament. The New Testament came later. The renewed covenant came later, but the Old Testament is the original scriptures, right? And the Old Testament, right? Okay, let's just make sure we get this clear. The Old Testament was written from the Most High Creator through his Hebrew prophets to his Israelite people. All right. All right. I mean, that's a basic thing that I think people should understand. It was written from the Most High Creator through his Hebrew prophets to his chosen people. Both the records that are kept in like First and Second Kings and First and Second Chronicles, the records that are kept, and then of course the Psalms, the prophets, the prophecies, everything surrounds the chosen people. And he only has one chosen people. Now, that being the case, as we're looking at Psalm 96, you can understand when he says, declare his glory among the heathen. And then he says later in this same psalm, say among the heathen that Yahweh reigneth. So what does that mean? That is an admonition of the Hebrew people to give his truth and his righteousness to the heathen. Everybody got me? Testing 1, 2, 3. And we already know from Exodus chapter 19 that he has intended that his chosen people should be a nation of priests and ministers, that they should go forth and teach the world the truth about the only true God. Now, this is the thing we must understand. I'm going to get a little deeper and maybe a little more controversial, but as you all know who know me by now, I must speak the straight truth. I cannot speak any other but the straight truth. Okay, so now let's follow this even further. That being the case, whenever his true people are not teaching the heathen about him, guess what? The heathen are not knowing about him. Whenever his true people are not teaching the heathen about him, then the heathen not knowing about him. That's when you get paganism. When his true people are not bringing forth the word that they are ordained to bring, you get paganism. That's why you get a Christianity. That's how you get a Catholic Church. That's how you get an Islam. That's how you get a Judaism. The absence of his people bringing in this truth will cause the truth to be stifled. It'll be darkness upon the earth. Right? And in prophecy, whenever that happens, you will see the Bible will give you an indication like this. It'll say the sun will be dark and the moon will not give her light. That's showing that there's no truth coming to the earth. The earth is not received. Either the earth is not receiving it or it's not coming to them. In any ways, it's not being brought forth. Okay. Either they're rejecting it or it's not available to them. So that is why the awakening of the Hebrews is a sign of the end. Because the awakening of the Hebrews and the awakening of the truth as to who the Hebrews are, listen carefully, the awakening of the truth as to who the Hebrews are is a prelude to the true message of righteousness being brought forth to the earth. Okay? The awakening of the Hebrews as to who they are, and their awakening and their restoration in their mind, in their soul, in their spirit, as to where they come from, as to who they are and how they got in their position, and their folly and their fall and their rising again. The awakening of these people is a blessing to the earth, which is why the Most High said to Abraham, "In thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed." Okay? What has happened is the earth has used the Hebrew as a slave, as a servant, and has gotten rich off his back. For example, the United States of America is worth, their GDP is worth umpteen multiple trillions of dollars. The founding of this land, they claim that the Europeans claim they came here and founded this land when they killed all the Indians. But the economy of this land was built on the backs of the slaves. I don't care who you are. If you get 4 or 5 million people working for you for free, for 200 or 300 years, you're gonna get rich. You hear what I'm saying? If you are a person that has people working for you for 2 or 3 centuries for free, and you just, you work them to death literally, and then you discard them and you get another one and you just keep doing that, you're going to get rich. And that wealth is going to multiply. It's going to multiply on top of itself and continue multiplying. So that when you start using these people to build to plant your fields, to tend your fields, to pull your cotton, and you sell cotton all over the earth, and you use these people to cut sugar cane and to create sugar and syrup and molasses, and you sell it all over the earth, and you use these people to raise your cattle and break your horses and to build your railroads and to build your White House and to build everything you got. When you start off like that, you use them to go deep into mines and get diamonds for you and to get gold for you. When you do that for a couple of centuries, you're going to get rich, and your wealth is based on their labor, their free labor. You understand what I'm saying? Can you imagine? Imagine if you had, just think about this for a second. If you had 100 people working for you from the time they say 6 or 7 or 8 years old, all the way until they drop dead. They work for you every day for 12 hours a day, 100 people working for you alone for free. Imagine if you had that. And then every time one of them dropped dead, you got a replacement right away. So that you always have for your whole life on the earth, 100 people solely working just for your benefit. Would you get rich? I don't care what you're selling. It could be real estate. You could be selling, bath beads. You could be selling anything. If they're working for you for your whole life for free, and all you do when you get ready to throw away a piece of clothes, you give it to one of them. When you get ready to throw away food you can't finish, you give it to one of them. You give them the worst piece of the meat that you get when that's left over. Whatever's left after what you ain't finished eating, you give to them, and that's all you give to them. You build a little shack in a field, and you give them a pot of water, and that's how they're supposed to clean themselves and go to the bathroom. And you don't care as long as they working for you, and they work for you continually, just one lifetime. You know how rich you get? You know how rich you get? Imagine now you got millions of these people working for a couple of centuries, 2, 3 centuries for free. And then when you finally start to pay them, you pay them such low wages they could barely make it. They're continually in debt to you, continually in debt to you. You're going to continue to get rich. And you're going to get so rich that even if you one day decided, you've been working for me and my family for almost 400 years. You know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna start to pay you what I'm or close. I'm gonna pay you close to what I'm getting paid. They never catch up. You got a 400-year head start. The whole nation of Brazil, the whole nation of the United States, the whole nation built off the back of slaves, off the back of slaves. Okay, whatever wealth they have, it came from them slaves back for free. So when he said, "In thee shall all the nations of the earth be blessed," it's what the heathen did is they went to heathen religion and they use it for profit. But the greater blessing comes when these same slaves are awakened to who they really are. And the truth comes back to them. And they start to remember who they are. And the Father's Spirit starts working through them. And then the true blessing comes. Then the true, right? What's the true blessing? That is the true righteousness and truth of the Father comes out in powerful light. That's the true blessing. And the people that gain that truth, even from among the heathen, will gain everlasting life. See, working the true chosen people to death might gain temporary wealth for the heathen. You know, they have 400 years of wealth, more than that even. Stealing gold and diamonds from our land and killing us and working us to death. It's a temporary blessing because they're gonna eventually die, and they can't take their money with them when they turn back to dust. But those when the awakening is in full effect, as it is now, and those heathen that recognize what they have done, and what, or should I say, what their fathers have done, and the society they built on our backs, when they turn from their wicked ways, when they turn and confess their sins and the sins of their fathers, they have an opportunity, not at this temporary wealth that their fathers stole. They have an opportunity at eternal life. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Isaiah. And let's read a few verses from Isaiah, from chapter 60. From chapter 60. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 5 of Isaiah chapter 60. Notice what it says, Isaiah chapter 60. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. Who is the thee that they talking about? Again, we have to understand, this is the scriptures. The scriptures are a word from the Creator through his Hebrew prophets, which Isaiah or Yeshaya is one, to his chosen people. So here Isaiah is being, the Spirit of the Father speaking through Isaiah's pen here is telling us what? We're going to be awakened. Darkness is covering the earth. That means no truth, no light. Gross darkness, the people. But the light of the Most High shall shine upon his people. And the Gentiles shall come to that light. The Gentiles that are going to be saved, the 1/6 of them. They will come to thy light and to the brightness of that rising. Okay, and they'll be converted. When we talk about the sea, the abundance of the sea, we know sea means peoples, nations, languages, tongues. That's what sea represents. That's why it says the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. Okay, So brothers and sisters, the Gentiles are coming, those that are going to be saved are coming to the knowledge of this truth through the Hebrew, as we just read also in Psalms. Bring forth his glory to the Gentiles, to the heathen. Again, notice again, Isaiah 62. Isaiah 62. I'm going to read this whole chapter. It's only 12 verses long. Isaiah 62. Watch carefully now the word Gentiles and how it's used in this chapter. Isaiah chapter 62 from verse 1 to 12. For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, and all kings thy glory. And thou shalt be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahweh shall name. Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of Yahweh, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy most high. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shall thy land any more be termed desolate, but thou shalt be called Hephzibah, and thy land Beulah. For Yahweh that delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married. For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee. And as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, so shall thy most high rejoice over thee. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silence, for and give him no rest till he establish, till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Yahweh have sworn by his right hand and by the arm of his strength. Surely I will do no more, I will no more give thy corn to be meat for thine enemies. And the sons of the stranger shall not drink thy wine, for which thou hast labored, but they that have gathered it shall eat it. Praise and praise Yahweh. And they that have brought it together shall drink it in the courts of my holiness. Go through the gates. Prepare ye the way of the people. Cast up the highway. Gather out the stones. Lift up a standard for the people. Behold, Yahweh hath proclaimed unto the end of the world. Say ye to the daughter of Zion, behold, thy salvation cometh. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. And they shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of Yahweh. And thou shalt be called sought out, a city not forsaken. See, heathen gonna come to the brightness of the Hebrew that is in Messiah. Again, one more for witness, one more. Zechariah chapter 8. Zechariah 8. I want you to get this backdrop as we get ready to go into Romans. You're going to understand why as we go in there. Zechariah chapter 8. Let's see. Okay, Zechariah 8. I'm going to go from verse 18 down to verse 23. Watch very carefully. Zechariah chapter 8, from verse 18 to verse 23. Notice what it said. And the word of Yahweh of hosts came unto me, saying, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness and cheerful feasts. Therefore love the truth and peace. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, it shall come to pass that there shall come people and inhabitants of many cities, and the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, Let us go speedily to pray before Yahweh and to seek Yahweh of hosts. I will go also. Yea, many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yahweh of hosts in Jerusalem and to pray before Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Yahweh or a Hebrew, saying, We will go with you, for we have heard that the Most High is with you. We will go with you, for we have heard that the Most High is with you. Conversion of the sea of the Gentiles shall be converted unto thee. Declare my name among the heathen. So, if the Hebrews aren't bringing this truth, then the truth's not being brought forth. You hear what I'm saying? Y'all understand what I'm saying now? If the Hebrews aren't bringing this truth, then the truth is not being brought forth. When the Hebrews start bringing this truth, then the truth is being brought forth. And that is why there is, as according to plan, as according to prophecy, an awakening. And this awakening was first began actually in the first century. It was a taste in the first century after Messiah came, died, resurrected, sent forth his apostles to lead the people to the truth. And what happened? Notice again, Acts, the book of Acts, on our way to Romans. We're going to stop in Acts chapter 10. Acts chapter 10. And this is an illustration of the heathen that are going to be saved, why they're going to be saved, and how they're going to be saved. Let's take a look at it before we go into Romans, Acts chapter 10. Let's watch this carefully, because this is one that Christianity totally chops up, misunderstands, misinterprets, misrepresents completely. And so as Hebrews, as Israelite nation, the Most High has given us the truth. We praise his holy name. And the spirits of those that are seeking truth will bear witness with our spirit that it is truth. Let's take a look in Acts chapter 10. Acts chapter 10, I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 6. Acts chapter 10 from verse 1 to 6. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man, and one that feared Yahweh with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Yahweh always. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of Yahweh coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, master? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before Yahweh. And now send men to Joppa and call for one Shimon, whose surname is Kapha. He lodgeth with one Shimon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. Now let's look at this now. You have this Gentile, an Italian man. He wants to serve Yahweh. That's the God of the Hebrews. He wants to serve the God of the Hebrews. He's trying his best to serve the God of the Hebrews. He believes in the God of the Hebrews, obviously. And because he was so sincere in both his devotion, obviously, so he was devout, his devotion and his respect for the God of the Hebrews, which he understood to be the Most High came to him in a vision, in a dream. And the angel that came to him didn't tell him how to be saved. He didn't tell him the truth of salvation in Messiah. What did he tell him? He said, Go send for this Hebrew man, Shimon. And this is where he lives. And when you go find him, he's going to tell you what you need to know, what you need to do. Now, don't tell me now, the angel could very well have told him the way of salvation. He could very well have said that to him. But he did not. What did he do? He went to have him go through the trouble and go find this Hebrew brother. Go find this Hebrew brother, Shimon. This is where Shimon lived. He's staying by another man named Shimon, by the seaside. Go over there. He's going to tell you what you need to do. Okay? So far, everybody with me so far? Testing 1, 2, 3. This is how you get ready. You're seeing now. This is how Gentiles are going to be saved. Now look, let's continue. Acts chapter 10. I'm going to start at verse 7. I'm going to read from verse 7. Let's see. I'm going to read verse 7 and 8 just to finish this thought here. And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called two of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. Okay, so now after he gets this vision, he sends three men. He sends two of his household servants and one devout soldier. Remember now, he was a centurion, which means he had under his charge 100 men. So he sends one of his 100 men with two household servants, three men. He sends them to Kaffa, to Shimon. He sends them to go get him. Because the angel told him, go get him, and this he's going to tell you what you need to know, what you need to do. Okay? So he sent them. Now, meantime, Kaffa is in this house, and let's see what he's doing. Acts chapter 10, let's look at verse 9 down to verse 17. Watch carefully. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Kaffa went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open and a certain vessel descending unto him as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Kaffa, kill and eat. But Kaffa said, Not so, Yahweh, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What Yahweh hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Now watch this. This was done thrice, that is 3 times. And the vessel was received up again into heaven. So he saw this vision 3 times. Okay, watch that now. He saw it 3 times. Okay, why? Now, three men were coming to see him, and he saw this vision 3 times. That's no coincidence. Watch this now. Continue. Verse 17. Verse 17. Now, while Peter doubted in himself what this vision he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius made inquiry for Shimon's house and stood before the gate. Now, let's stop again. He was wondering what it meant, because there are many Christians that try to teach you that this is a vision that Peter had that said we could eat anything. Y'all might have heard that false doctrine, that this vision means Peter's being shown that we can eat anything. But obviously it's not, because he's doubting. The Bible says he is doubting. He's wondering what this means, because he's obviously understanding he's not supposed to eat wild animals. And yet the Most High is telling him, What I've cleansed, thou call not thou common. So he's wondering, what does this mean? If it was so obvious he should be eating pigs and rats and snakes and stuff, he wouldn't have doubted that. But now he's wondering what that means. He had it 3 times, and 3 men came to him. Let's take a look now. From verse 18 and verse 18, verse 19, and verse 20. Verse 18, 19, and 20. And called and asked whether Shimon, which was surnamed Kaffa, were lodged there. While Kaffa thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, Behold, 3 men seek thee. Arise therefore and get thee down and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them. Now let's look at this. Stop right here, because Gentiles get this all messed up. As I said, I want to break this down, because this is how Gentiles going to be saved when they get rid of these pagan ways and this Christianity foolishness, when they hear the truth at the mouth of a Hebrew. Listen, He's doubting what he saw. 3 men stood at the gate. And I want you to notice, they didn't come into the yard and knock on the door. They stood at the gate. Why? Why did they do that? Because they were Gentiles and they knew not to go into the house of a Hebrew. They weren't allowed in the house. Neither was the Hebrew going to go into their house. Okay? Why? Because the Pharisees taught them that the heathen were so unclean, you can't let them touch you, you can't touch them, you definitely can't go in their house, and they definitely can't come in your house because they will defile your house, and you're going to be defiled if you go in their house. That's a Pharisee thing. So now here's the spirit of the Father that came through Messiah, trying to teach Peter something now. The Spirit tells him, that is the Father's Spirit commands him, 3 men seek you. Go with them. I've sent them, Peter. Now, Peter's confused. Now, you sent 3 heathen to me? For what? What you sent? You sent 3. Okay, he said, go down, doubting nothing. Don't doubt, don't ask no questions, just go. Okay? Don't doubt, don't ask no questions, just go. So he saw this vision, unclean beasts come down 3 times, and he's being told, kill one and eat it. And he's like, no, I can't do that. I don't eat nothing common or unclean. And he said, what I cleanse don't call common. And as he wakes up out the vision, 3 men waiting at the gate. Is Kafir there? Shimon, who's called Kafir, is he there? Spirit tells Kafir, you see the 3 men I sent? I sent them. Go. Don't ask no question. Just go. So he's going now. Okay? Okay? From verse 20. I'm going to read verse 20 again. And we'll go from verse 20 down to verse 24. Arise, therefore, and get thee down, and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them. Then Kafir went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore ye are come? And they said, Cornelius, the centurion, a just man, one that feareth Yahweh, and of good report among all the nation of the Hebrews, was warned from Yahweh by a holy angel to send for thee into his house and to hear words of thee. Then called he them in and lodged them. And on the morrow, Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa, accompanied him. Okay. And the morrow after they entered Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them and had called together his kinsmen and near friends. Now let's stop right here. So now Peter's totally tripping. He's a Hebrew. He get this weird vision. He don't know what it means. The Spirit plainly speaks to him and say, there's three men down there. And he notices they're Gentiles. They tell him who they are. Cornelius, the centurion, the Roman centurion, he's a just man. He feareth Yahweh. See, this is why we have to understand that everybody serves the same God, because the word God is not good enough here. The word God is not good enough here. You have to understand, when it says he serves God, he's not talking about any God. He's talking about Yahweh. He fears Yahweh. See, because now Peter will understand. If he says Yah, Peter understands. Oh, you mean he serves the true God? He's a heathen. He serves the true God? Is he a convert? Is he like a Hellenist or something? Right? And so he didn't say I serve Chemosh or Baal. See, he said, he, just man, one that fears Yahweh, of good report among all the Hebrews. The nation, this man serves your God from your nation. He sent us. An angel told him to send us. Spirit already told Peter, don't ask no questions. Go with him. So now Peter lets them in his house. He's going to catch hell for that. He let them in his house. They spent the night with Shimon and Peter in the Hebrews' house. Okay? The next day, they go. And when they get to Caesarea, Cornelius is there. And not just Cornelius. He done call all his close friends and his family members. They want to hear whatever it is this man has to say. Why? Because Cornelius was a witness. Cornelius was a witness. Notice it said he feared Yah, right? And he had a good report among the Hebrews. They knew this man. He was a Gentile, but he was seriously spiritual, and he wanted to serve the Hebrew God, not the gods of the nations. He wanted to serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Whenever you see somebody coming to the Hebrews in the Bible, they want to serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the only true God. He wanted to serve him, but he wasn't a Hebrew. He was a Gentile. And as far as Peter was concerned, I don't know what he said. Well, I don't know what they calling me for, because he ain't supposed to be coming here. I ain't seeing no heathen. But the Most High said, don't ask no questions. Go. Don't say nothing. Just go. Peter went. Man is there with all his family and his friends, everybody. Imagine now, you are called. You come in. Here's some heathen people. And they got all their family and friends. The Spirit, the Most High sent an angel. You supposed to say some words to us. You supposed to tell us the way of salvation. And this is why, brothers and sisters, listen. This is why the teachers of the Most High must know his word and must be acquainted with his spirit. You can't be writing no notes every time you got to preach. Suppose this happened to you, Peter. You had no time to write no notes. Let me get my sermon together. Let me get my homiletics in order, like they taught me in the theology seminary. You can't do that. This is spirit-led. You understand? This is spirit-led. You can't get no master of divinity and do this. You better be ready. That's right. Be ready at all times. Peter was the one. He wrote it later. Be ready at all times to give a word. You never know when the Most High will call you to give a word. Peter's sitting on the housetop praying at noon. That's the 9th hour. It's noon. No, I'm sorry. The 9th hour is 3 o'clock. He was praying. What time was it? Let me make sure I got that straight, man. He was praying the 6th hour, noon time, 6th hour of the day. He praying up there. And all of a sudden, now it's time to preach a message, man. But to who? Some heathen. Right now. Right now. You ready? Right now. You got to know the Father. You got to be in touch with his spirit. You got to be acquainted with his word. You never know. Somebody might be scared and say, well, what am I going to say? You know what the Bible says? And they overcame Satan how? By the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Bear witness, what has Yahweh done for you? Bear witness, what has he done for you? Yeah, if he ain't done nothing for you, you don't know him. Period. If he ain't done nothing for you, you don't know him. If you ain't got no experience with him, you don't know him. It's simple as that. Anybody that you can claim to know, really know, you have some experience with. Some. You can say some, right? Otherwise, you don't know him. They bore witness. And the blood of the Lamb, meaning they have received the righteousness of the Father. They have received his spirit of righteousness, and they're bearing witness. When he calls you, that's your centerpiece right there. You are bearing witness of the righteousness of the Father, what his Messiah done for you after he gave you the Father's righteousness. What has he done for you? What's your testimony? What has the Spirit of the Father through the Messiah's righteousness done for you? What has he given to you? Be ready to open your mouth at any time. And if you don't have a story to tell, pray to the Father. He'll give you one. He'll give you one. Pray to the Father. So anyway, here's Peter. He walks in his house, and this man and all his family is in there. And they're ready to hear a word. They've been waiting for this man. They're ready to hear a word now. Let's look at it. Acts chapter 10, verse 25 and 26. Watch this. Acts 10, 25 and 26. Acts 10, 25, 26. Notice what it says. As Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. But Kepha took him up, saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. Why would Cornelius do this? Because the heathen understood at that time. They could not get this truth except it come from a Hebrew. Cornelius was so hungry, so blessed that the Most High sought him out to cause this Hebrew man to bring him the truth. He was about to worship the Hebrew. He was treating Peter the way Yochanan treated that angel in Revelation. Because to him, that's who Peter was. That's why you need to understand. If the Hebrews are not bringing this truth, then this truth ain't being brought. That's it. That's the whole thing. If the Hebrews not bringing it, it ain't being brought. Simple as that. If the heathen going to be saved, you better pray the Hebrews understand who they are and wake up and start bringing this message. It's ordained for them to do it. So here's Cornelius. Peter got caused the man there because you know, even though I know I'm supposed to bring this message to you, I'm a man like you. You can't worship me. Worship the Most High. Just like the angel told Yochanan. See thou do it not. I'm your fellow servant. Worship Yah. Okay? He's about to bring him the spirit of prophecy. He's about to bring him the spirit of prophecy. Notice. Peter took him up. Let's look at this. Verse 27. Acts chapter 10 from verse 27. From verse 27 down to verse 33. Acts 10, 27, 33. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, you know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Hebrew to keep company or to come unto one of another nation. But Yahweh hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. See, he wasn't talking about food. He was talking about men. The vision was about people that Peter in the Hebrew were calling common or unclean. It wasn't about eating anything. It had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Let's continue. I should not call any man common or unclean. Therefore came I unto you without gainsaying as soon as I was sent for. I asked therefore, for what intent have ye sent for me? And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour. And at the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, thy prayer is heard, and thine alms are had in remembrance before in the sight of Yahweh. Send therefore to Joppa and call hither Shimon, whose surname is Kapha. He lodged in the house of one Shimon, a tanner by the seaside, who when he cometh shall speak unto thee. Immediately therefore I sent to thee, and thou hast well done that thou art come. Now therefore are we all here present before Yahweh to hear all things that are commanded thee of Yahweh. So he's like, okay, what you got to say to us? The angel came and he was bright, and he said, go get this man. He's gonna show us what to do. Okay, what you gonna say to us, man? We all here now. What you got to say? We all here. Now Peter understands now. He got it now. He knows the vision was about people. He knows now Messiah, the Father through Messiah teaching him, don't call people common and unclean. Yeah, I came to save the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But when you get this message, Israel, you need to bring it to the heathen. Bring it to the heathen. Once you get it. Once you get it, bring it to the heathen. From verse 34. From verse 34. I'm going to read from verse 34 down to verse 48. Then Kapha opened his mouth and said, of the truth I perceive that Yahweh is no respecter of persons. But in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. The word which Yahweh sent to the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahweh Shah Messiah, he is master of all. That word I say, ye know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which Yochanan preached. How Yahweh anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the set apart spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Yahweh was with him. And we are witnesses of all things which he did both in the land of the Hebrews and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. Him Yahweh raised up the third day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of Yahweh, even unto us, who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach unto the people and to testify that it is he which was ordained of Yahweh to be the judge of the quick and the dead, and to give all the prophets witness to him, give all the prophets witness that through his name whosoever believeth in him shall receive remission of sins. While Kapha spake these words, the set apart spirit fell on all them which heard the word, and they of the circumcision which believed were astonished, as many as came with Kapha, because that on the Gentiles also was poured out the gift of the set apart spirit. For they heard them speak with tongues and magnify Yahweh. Then answered Peter, can any man forbid water that these should not be baptized, which have received the set apart spirit as we have, as well as we? And he commanded them to be baptized in the name of the Master. Then prayed they him to tarry certain days. Now, of course, he went back. If you read chapter 11, he went back and caught some hell from his brethren about going into these Gentiles, because they didn't think they were supposed to bring this message to Gentiles, but they were. And so we are seeing here an illustration, a Hebrew who understands the truth of Messiah, understands the truth of the salvation of righteousness, brings that message after he receives it, brings it to his brethren, but then once his brethren receive it, he bring it to the Gentiles. That's where we are right now. See, after this, the first century came and went, and then all of the apostles died. All the people that outlived the apostles died. And then what you had some compromise with Gentiles. You had compromise with Gentiles, and they started calling themselves Christians, starting with Constantine, the emperor, the pagan emperor. And it turned into the Catholic Church. And then you got Christianity, and then you got white Jesus, and then you got what we got right now. And we came in here as slaves, and they beat us over the head with white Jesus while they got rich off our backs. And now, according to schedule, right on schedule, the Most High Spirit from the Father, in the name of Messiah, is awakening us as to who we really are. And so it starts. The message is coming first to the Hebrew and also to the Gentile from the Hebrew. Now, let's go to Romans chapter 3. And we're going to go Romans chapter 3. Now that we got all this background, you guys understand. We now understand that the Hebrew is awakened with the power of the righteousness and light of the Father given to him, the only true God on earth, so that he can learn who he is. He can receive the power of salvation that he is ordained to receive, so that he can use that power and gift to give this message to the heathen, to the 1/6 of them that are going to receive. Testing 1, 2, 3. Everybody got me? All right. It's not going to come in its fullness until the Hebrews first get it in its fullness. Once the Hebrews get it in its fullness, then everybody can get it. Right now, we're in a situation where the Hebrews are just awakening. The awakening is underway, but it's just underway. It's going forward now. And he's preparing his people so that they can bring forth this message with power. When Messiah said, when this gospel of the kingdom is preached into all the world, then shall the end come. All them other things he talk about, wars and rumors of wars and famines, that's been happening. That's the common lot of the earth. Wars and rumors of wars been going on for hundreds of years, thousands of years, without stopping. Famines, pestilences, all that been happening. But the difference is this message of the gospel. This message has not gone forth. We've been hearing the heathen Christian message. That's been going forth. That's been around the world several times. Nothing changed. Still wars, rumors of wars. But when the message of the true Hebrew righteousness of the Father, the true Hebrew God comes forth, and the true Hebrew Messiah, that message is power. With that message, power that will change this earth, power that will stir up Asatan, power that will bring forth Messiah. Romans chapter 3. I'm going to start where we left off, verse 20. Romans chapter 3, verse 20. Let's go from verse 20 to verse 26. Romans chapter 3, 20 to 26. Notice what it says. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of Yahweh without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of Yahweh, which is by faith of Messiah Yahushua, unto all and upon all them that believe. For there is no difference. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of Yahweh, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Messiah Yahushua, whom Yahweh hath sent forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of Yahweh. To declare, I say, at this time, his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of him which believeth in Yahushua. Okay, let's stop here. Propitiation. I left y'all with that big word last week. I'm going to start off with it today. Propitiation is translated mercy seat. That's what propitiation means. It means mercy seat. Let me just say that again. Propitiation means mercy seat. Ain't but one mercy seat that the Hebrews care about. Ain't but one important mercy seat in the whole earth. Ain't but one important mercy seat that the whole earth should care about. And the Hebrews know what it is. Can y'all tell me? What is the mercy seat? And more importantly, or just as importantly, where is the mercy seat? Y'all know what that is? Propitiation through faith in his blood. This is Hebraic Hebrew language. This is Messianic language. That's right. The top of the ark and the most holy place of the sanctuary. Thank you. That's exactly. So in the where the ark of the covenant is, where the covenant is in a place called an ark. Inside that ark is really like a box covered in gold. Inside that box is the two tables, the two witnesses, which are the two tables of the covenant. The top of that box is covered with a covering. That covering is called a mercy seat. When the high priest goes in there, he goes in there with the incense representing the prayers of the saints. This was given to the Israelite nation only. Only. Just like the two tables of the covenant were given only to the Israelite nation, not to anybody else. So he comes in there with the prayers of the saints, and because of the mercy seat between the cherubim, there are two cherubim, one on each side of that mercy seat, and that incense goes up between the cherubim to the Father, and the Father receives the blood of the Messiah and hears those prayers because of the blood of the Messiah, and receives those prayers in the righteousness that he sees in his Son. That's the mercy seat. Now, the apostle is introducing the Father of the Hebrews to the Gentiles. And he's saying he's sent forth to be a propitiation. Messiah is representing to us the mercy seat of the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary. Messiah is representing as our intercessor, perfection of righteousness. He is the representative of the Father. He is not the Father, but the Father sent him forth to be a representation of righteousness and truth to the Hebrews. He came not but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I pray not for the world, but for them you have given me, for they are mine, and all mine are thine, and all thine are mine. That's what Messiah said. I came not for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And then he told the Israelites that Gentiles are going to be converted unto you. I'm going to convert the Gentiles. They're going to come. Men going to come out of all languages and take the skirt of him that is a Hebrew and say, we will go with you, for we have heard that the Most High is with you. Gentiles shall come to thy light, into the brightness of thy truth and righteousness. Therefore, love the truth and peace. Praise the Most High, what the word says. So now, justified or to be declared innocent, which is given to the Hebrew from their own Messiah. You see, brothers and sisters, I want to point out again, there's no accident that Messiah Yahushua came from the tribe of Judah to the nation of Israel. The woman travailing in birth with the 12 stars on her head, that's the nation of Israel. She gave birth to Messiah. So that Messiah, listen carefully, is forever tied to the nation of Israel, forever. He is forever tied to the nation of Israel and forever tied particularly to the tribe of Judah. So that regardless where you coming from, you want to be saved, you a heathen, you got to come through the tribe of Judah to the nation of Israel. Because Messiah is forever tied to them. Forever. Forever and ever and ever. To the Hebrew first. And also to the Gentile. So this righteousness, this truth that I'm bringing forth right now, the heathen don't have it. They might want it. They might get a glimpse of it, but they don't have it. They better hear it from us. That you can overcome all your sins that are past. See, brothers and sisters, is it not true? Our past causes us sometimes to do dumb things in our present. Isn't that true? Our past causes us to do dumb things. The mistakes of our past cause us to make dumb decisions and do dumb things in our present. Well, the Bible is telling us right here, through the righteousness of the Father given to us through the Hebrew Messiah, he can cause all the sins of the past to be washed away. He can cause you to be declared innocent, not because you are, but because Messiah, your propitiation, your mercy seat, took your sins because you asked him to. Because you prayed to the Hebrew Messiah. You asked him to. And the Father, through him, accepts you for the sins that are past through the forbearance of Yahweh. That's why he said, by the deeds of the law shall no flesh be justified. I don't care how many circumcisions you try to do, how many Sabbaths you keep, how long your dress is, how many suspenders you wear, how much vegan food you eat. You cannot cause yourself to be declared innocent. And if you want to be obedient to the Father going forward, it doesn't start with what kind of clothes you wear. It doesn't start with what kind of food you eat. How it starts is with his spirit of righteousness and truth that will give you power to obey him, to do all things properly and in order. That will give you power, give you an unction to obey him. See, by what law? Of works? No. By the law of faith. Because we are faith. Faith, brothers and sisters, is a conviction. Remember, we talk about that. You are saved by faith. You are saved by righteousness through faith. That is righteousness you receive by a conviction. You have to be convicted that this is the way of truth. You have to be convicted by the spirit of righteousness that this is the way of truth, that this is the only true God. If you receive that conviction in your heart, you can come to the Hebrew Messiah, understanding who he is, understanding who his people are. You can receive perfect righteousness from the Father. All your sin can be washed away. Romans chapter 3, from verse 27 down to verse 31. Very carefully watch this. Romans 3, 27 to 31. Where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works? Nay, but by the law of faith. Therefore, we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Is he the Most High of the Hebrews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one Most High, which shall justify the circumcision by faith and the uncircumcision through faith. We're going to talk about that. Do we then make void the law through faith? Yahweh forbid. Yea, we established the law. Let's go through this. So nobody can boast. Us who are Hebrews by blood, who are the chosen people, who are awakening as to who we are as the chosen people. We don't boast in that, because the reason we're in this problem is because we thought we was all that and started worshiping other gods in the first place. That's what caused us to reject Messiah. Okay, that's what caused us to be all messed up. And the heathen, well, you definitely can't boast, because as soon as you got the opportunity, you created white Jesus and Christianity and all that. So there's no boasting. There's no boasting. All of us are redeemed through the righteousness that we did not earn. We're redeemed by righteousness that we did not earn, by the spirit of divinity that comes from above us. Praise the Most High. Okay, so he's without the deeds of the law. So it almost implies, he's almost implying that, which most people take, you don't even need the law, because now you got the spirit of righteousness, you don't need the law. So that's what somebody will say. So do we do away then with the law? He's asked the question, do we make void the law through faith? He says, no, Yahweh forbid. You establish it. What does that mean? That means when you really receive the righteousness of the Father, you want to get deeper into his word. You want to really obey him. The first thing you do when you receive the spirit of repentance, and you receive the spirit of righteousness from the Father, is you want to obey him. Therefore, you go back in his word, and now he will cause you. That's what it says. I will put my spirit upon you, he promises, and cause you to keep my commandments, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. Why? Because you just determined to do it? No, because the Father's Spirit is giving you the unction. He's giving you the power. He's giving you the freedom to do it, because he's washed away all your sins. You're not carrying sin on you no more. Notice what he said here. He shall justify the circumcision by faith and the uncircumcision through faith. Why does he make this distinction? Because one is for the Hebrews and one is for the Gentiles. One is for the Hebrews. Why does he say by faith? Well, the circumcision represents the Hebrews. He says by faith, the circumcision by faith. Why does he say that? Because the Hebrew are being redeemed. They're being declared innocent by one who's related to them. Messiah is their brother. Messiah is their blood, literally. Messiah is their cousin. Messiah is one that comes from their family. He's one of them. You understand? This is a relative. Messiah is a bloodline relative of the Israelite nation. That's different now. But the heathen, he's no relative of y'all. You ain't got nothing to do with him. But you coming through the Hebrew nation. You coming through the Hebrew mercy seat to the Father. You coming through that way. That's how you come through. You're not related, but you're being accepted. You're being adopted. You're being adopted. That's right. He's exactly you. That's right. That's what you get in the roof. He's your kinsman redeemer. That's right. He is Boaz. That's exactly right. He is our brother. He is our bloodline. He's where we come from. He looks like us. But for the heathen, he don't look like them. He don't come from them. He ain't related to them. But they come through. They come through him. Through us to him. Through the Hebrews to him. Hebrews teach it to them. They come through the Hebrews to him. Circumcision by faith, the uncircumcision through faith. Praise the Most High Yah. Let's have a word of prayer.